In honor of this week's The Flash, we're looking at James Montgomery Jesse, aka the Trickster. Now, his minifigure is unlocked after the Hall of Justice quest, Tricky Tour Guide. Yeah, get it? Because, you know, he tricks and stuff. He'll run you 40,000 studs. His abilities mostly consist of acrobatics. Okay, time for some background or origin on Jesse Boy. He was created by John Bourne and a guy named Carmine. Hey, it's that Carmine guy again, not Falcone, somebody else. He first appeared in Flash 113 in 1960, and like Dick Grayson, he comes from the circus. Kind of. When the Flash first fights Jesse too, he's dressed like a clown. A little bit of foreshadowing for a certain actor, isn't it? But actually, did you know that James isn't even Jesse's real name? It's Giovanni. Bet you didn't see that coming. For whatever reason, James, or Giovanni, decides on becoming a bad guy, taking the name of his favorite outlaw, Jesse James. James was actually a brilliant con artist and inventor. He created shoes that could make him walk on air, or gave the appearance that he was doing that. Something that would wow the crowds during the circus. Once he was a full-fledged bad guy, though, he would make all kinds of crazy, gimmicky inventions. Like Captain Cold, Jesse loved challenging Barry constantly. And when Barry died during the crisis, well, Jesse gave up crime altogether and turned back into a normal, boring civilian with a real job. And by real job, I mean he went to Hollywood and became a special effects guy. Eventually, his skills actually caught the eye of the hero world, though. One of his most famous stories in the 1990s was during the whole Underworld Unleashed series. Not one of my favorite series, though, because villains all make a deal with the devil. So it's basically talking about playing with fire. Eventually, James talks his way into hell and fools the evil one himself. Ha! Though at the end of the series, even Jesse, who's responsible for saving the entire DC universe, states no one will ever believe what he did, because no one remembers it. As part of how he tricked the devil. Throughout the 90s and before Countdown, James works for the heroes though, which is actually pretty cool. He and Catwoman become pretty good friends, but nothing else develops because of that. He gets friend-zoned because she has a thing for the Batman, which he totally understands because he's not Batman. Anyway, James ends up working for the FBI somehow and learns that he actually has a son from a former girlfriend called Mindy Hong. But besides all that, as a hobby, James likes to go around collecting jailed bad guys' weapons and puts them out of harm's way so that they can't hurt people anymore. Which is actually a pretty good idea if you think about it. I guess they're taking that whole Superman 4 movie approach. Unfortunately, when the next Trickster arrives on the scene named Alex Walker, no relation to Texas Walker, he gives the rogues back their weapons and tells them James turned on them, and they're all like, why? Why, James? During Identity Crisis, James, like the other bad guys, becomes unbrainwashed, and he sides with Captain Cold against Top. Then he and his successor fight, and James totally pwns him and is like, never be the Trickster again, and the other guy cries and runs away. Then he and the Pied Piper quit the Rogues and do their own thing. Countdown is actually James' final story. After the death of Bart Allen, the fourth Flash, James and Hartley leave the Rogues and then get hunted by Deadshot and Multiplex. Handcuffed to a special thing that will explode if they separate. They go on lots of crazy adventures to try to get it off, so kind of like the Road to movies. Hopefully people know what I'm talking about. You know, the ones with Bing Crosby and Bob Hope? Nothing? Fine. So they're on these crazy adventures, you know, handcuff bound or whatever. And they go to the Penguin, ask for help, and they run into the Question, who's Renee Montoya, and she's like, they're not a threat. And Batwoman's kind of like, I just want to punch people in the face because I'm angry. Then they run into Batman, and Batman turns them over to Wally, like, these are your guys, get them out of my town. Wally is so upset with these two rogues for their involvement with Bart's death that he breaks the Trickster's nose for the third time, like, in this storyline, because Deadshot broke it, then Batwoman broke it, and now Wally broke it several times. Eventually they spill everything to Wally about how they had no part in Bart's death, and Wally believes them after a while, but he's still really mad. He drops them off at the Green Arrow and Canary wedding for whatever reason, and the two then go on the lam again. And it was actually kind of funny to see these two together. Eventually they get tracked down by Deadshot though, who's still ticked at them for, you know, saying no to the Suicide Squad and of course escaping his trap. And unfortunately the Trickster is killed trying to save Pied Piper. So It's an interesting parallel. James started out as a villain and then dies a hero. He comes back as a zombie during Blackest Night, though, and messes with Wally. It's kind of funny, but it's creepy, too. Before the New 52, Alex becomes the Trickster again and joins Captain Cold's new rogue crew by conning his way into the group after Mirror Master teaches him how to do it, just like good old James. In the New 52, Alex is the Trickster. You don't really care about that. As for television, well, Luke Skywalker, I mean the Joker, you know, Mark Hamill, played the villain and has reprised his role in the animated universe and on television again in the upcoming Flash series, where he will play a older jailed Trickster in the new episode of The Flash tomorrow night. This is not a product placement. Anyway, in the original Flash series, the one from the 90s, James was in love with Megan Lockhart, and he's just a normal, crazy criminal guy who's also a homicidal maniac. After a run-in with the Flash, he gets an idea to don a colorful costume and become the Trickster. He's actually able to outsmart Barry many times, and realizing that there's a way to actually slip this guy up. So he'll drop marbles when the Flash is running after him, so Barry will lose traction and smash into a wall, which he actually did during a car chase scene. It was kind of funny. And Mark Hamill, you get to see his laugh evolve into the Joker later. But it was actually pretty bone-chilling to watch Luke Skywalker be so evil. It's like, is this Anakin or is this Luke? Who am I watching? And for a kid, you know, you knew him as Luke Skywalker, and here he was playing a bad guy. It was like, no! And then, as you grow up, you learn actors play other parts. And it's kind of like, okay, but still, wow! So yeah, eventually, you know, he gets beaten by the Flash, and then later appears as the Joker a year later. But that's another story. The episode, basically, he forces Megan to become his sidekick named Prank. They do all kinds of crazy stuff, and eventually Barry and Megan beat the Trickster and he gets arrested. He then breaks out several times during the series, and at the end of the show, like a new Prank, which is a toy heiress, breaks him out of jail, and she says she loves him. She also sounds similar to Harley Quinn. She helps the Trickster make Barry evil, and he becomes his partner in crime. She gets really jealous about the relationship between Trickster and the Flash and doesn't like being ignored. And her relationship is very similar to Harley Quinn and Mr. J. Just saying. Was fate foreshadowing? Maybe. Anyway, in Justice League Unlimited, Mark Hamill returns as the series Trickster. Due to the bad embargo Warner Brothers made for the third season of Justice League, Joker was out and Trickster was in. So in this scene, for the most part, the rogues are harmless and they're hanging out at like a bar, a villain bar. James lives at a mental hospital, I guess is what they said, and he isn't even aware that he's wearing the suit at times anymore, which Flash actually reminds him, hey, you're wearing the suit. And then he tells Flash and Batman how to beat the rogues. And then James replies with, you beat me again, Flash. And Orion's just kind of like, what? As for this week's The Flash, both James and Alex will appear as the Tricksters. Somehow, James gets out of jail, then puts a bomb on the Flash that will explode if it drops below 600 miles per hour, reminding the Flash of the movie Speed, except, of course, you know, he raised the speed limits because the guy's the Flash. He then tells Barry to run, 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 laughing like the Joker while he does it. All I can say is, wow, CW. Wow. And that's it. That's all, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching another LEGO Batman 3 character spotlight. In the comment section below, tell me who you would like to learn about next time. Have a great evening, and until we meet again, God bless and happy gaming. Thanks for watching the Kwings Let's Play channel. See ya!